This is a short demo illustrating how to use the interface I built it for the exercise 1 auditory CI simulation. Firstly, just choosing the operating system that you use for this code, Python code. If you're using Windows, just pressing Windows. If you are using Linux or Mac OS, you just choose the Unix option and then press OK. So now I choose Unix and press OK. We can see there are two options activated. Firstly, we can choose the sound file name. It is all the options listed in the data file that we can choose from to see the behavior of this CI simulation. Now we can choose ps.wav, and by pressing choose, the choice is made and no other options or operations needed actually. If you pop up with some opening folder or opening WAV file, I think it might not work. And the problem can be that as written here, it is suggested to open project folder and run it in your development environment instead of directly open a single Python file and run it. So that means it is suggested to open the folder where the Python file is located instead of this Python file itself. So by choosing this folder where I put my Python files in and open it, it's set up in something like an environment for this Python file or for the first exercise, and we can get the same behavior as I illustrated before, and instead of some popping up of choosing the file to simplify the process a bit. So now we have two options. Firstly is play the sound, or we can run the simulation. We can play the sound to check whether it is loaded successfully.
I've done it all my life. It makes them taste funny, but it keeps them on my knife.
As we can hear that it seems successfully loaded on the sound file, then we can set the parameters for the simulation. The step time is set as 10 milliseconds, and we can choose which value we want to use, and the minimum frequency is set as 200 Hz and maximum frequency is set as 2000 Hz. The number of electrodes is set as 20. You can increase it a bit, but we now set it as 20. And there is an option for the n out of m strategy. If the value here is set as -1, it means that all the electrodes are activated, so the strategy is not applied yet. And at the beginning we can just choose as -1 to see the behavior. Then we can press the run to run the simulation, and we can see that the simulation is very fast. We can plot the result of the simulation, and this figure can be saved for further analyze maybe. And we say, yep, we close it. We can play the simulated sound by pressing this button. Now you have seen what's the output of this simulation. To run another simulation, we need to press this choose again to activate all the parameters, because now all the options are deactivated. By pressing this choose, we can change some values. Now we want to check whether n out of strategy of play some role. We just choose the number of electrodes as 2, run the simulation, plot the output, save the data as figure 2, and close it. We skip the playing the simulation and we choose it again, choosing 10 electrodes, run it, plot the result, save it, figure 3, we close it. We can see the behavior now. We can see here the first one, second one, and the third one. By moving from 1 to 1, we can see that using small or little activation of the electrodes, there are some information lost. And by increasing the number, the more information are obtained or preserved in this simulation. That's it. The introduction of this interface and how to make a simulation. You can try to use other files and run the simulation on, and also other parameters to check whether the simulation is what you expected. And hope this introduction helps you to understand the logic behind the design.